the way I see it is it's a cycle, right? It's a secular cycle, and it's lasted 40 years. It generally lasts 40 to 70 years if you look at the quadratic waves and all that fun stuff. But it's also rebalancing, as you mentioned. Not all is bad for everybody. I mean, certainly developed nations that have, when you think about the growth of GDP in the United States, for example, it actually has gone up because of globalization, except that most of it has gone to a 1%, right? And so you've hollowed out the middle class. Now we're going to a situation where manufacturing is coming back to the US, where there's going to be a lower gap in between the have and the have-nots. And we're going to move towards a more equitable society. And other excesses, right? The idea that, people my age and younger can't afford to buy a house. And so prices have become so excessive that there's this disdain for the rich. As we rebalance back to a normal environment where you can finally afford, yes, at higher interest rates, but finally afford a home, be able to, buy stocks at a reasonable price, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of good that will come through this painful period. As we always tend to focus too much on, look how terrible this all is. Let me tell you, as a Latin American, as an immigrant coming into Canada, I remember one of my first memories coming into the supermarket was my mom having a panic attack because of the amount of choice that existed in that grocery store, right? When she went to a grocery store in Peru, she knew what she needed to get. You get what you need and you get out. Today, there's 50 brands of everything, 50 options of everything. There's no need for that. In fact, I think it creates a level of anxiety, right? When we start focusing on these luxury beliefs, right? When I see people complain in developed nations about microaggressions, that if you actually look at any other country are real aggressions, but they're looking within, all of a sudden, those luxury beliefs go away and you start focusing and working the real problems that you now have in common with the rest of the world. So I think, ultimately it is a cycle, and it is a cycle of excesses and haves and have-nots. And this might be painful. We're going to go from a 40-year period of creating growth to maybe a 10 to 15-year period of replacing growth that is going away. And that's okay. Recognizing our limits, recognizing our growth limits, understanding, being appreciative of what we have is, I think, from a psychological perspective, going to be a massive boon for my children. I feel like they're going to be lucky that they're going to struggle through this in a way. So I do want to put that out there as something of value.
I completely agree from a 30,000-foot view, right? 15 years seems like forever, and it's going to be a difficult rebalancing. I mean, you'll have creative destruction. You'll have, all the malinvestment will have to go. I mean, it's not going to be a pretty 15 years.
There's a lot of malinvestment too.
Massive. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens in 40 years, right, of free money.
For sure.
So, but to your point, we would not have had the 40 years of peace and growth and technological innovation if interest rates, if we didn't get the 68 to 82 period where the market went nowhere in nominal terms and lost 70% of its value and interest rates went to 20, right? Because what that did was that created potential energy to do supply side economics for 40 years.
Yeah.
And it built a middle class, right? To drive the demand that we could then slowly hollow out again, right? But like the reality is that's the way these things go. So it is a rebalancing. I'll go take it one step further. Here in the US, at least, I would say this is a blessing in disguise. I think if we went any further, if these, this inequality and the cracks in the system had gone further, it could be much worse. Mm-hmm. If you look at World War II, America wouldn't be where it is if it hadn't gone through that period. The strength and importance of and the benefits of America, which is security from a commodities perspective, energy and food security, an island on the other side of the world with the biggest military and the best innovative technology in the world. All of that is now being more appreciated, right? Where Europe didn't like us so much a couple of years ago, right? All of a sudden, Europe's very, very kind of friendly. Dollar strength is a benefit that we gain during periods of these time like this. So I think what we're about to go through is actually, a time of rebalancing here in the U.S. as well, a chance to, again, our founding fathers created a system that needed crises in order for the system to heal itself, right? To pass laws, when's the last time we had a constitutional amendment, right? When's the last time we, passed something incredibly meaningful in terms of revitalizing and it seems like we're furthest from the case now, but the stress and the pressure that we will be under in the next 15 years will cause demand, and populism will cause a rejuvenation, if you will. It's either going to blow it up or it's going to help fix the system for the future. And I'm optimistic because this hasn't got another 20, 30 years, that this will cause a revitalization of what America is and what we stand for, and the importance of that in opposition to everything
Focusing
else.
on real issues. I sound like
Right.
a politician. Isn't that what they say? The real issues of America.
Right. But
I
that's
think generally this will force them to actually consider the real
correct, because they're populist, and populism means people will care and actually demand change.
on both sides.